Today, we will be talking all the rough Xbox news of the week. Cyberpunk Anime gets a season 2. Gamers fight for preservation in a review for games that I've been playing the last few months while I've been on hiatus. This is the Tower Report. Welcome in. To the Tower Report. This is a new episode after a few month hiatus. My name is Roger. I'm here to talk and give my thoughts on some of the biggest games and news in the industry. I've been on a bit of a hiatus for a couple months. I made a couple episodes and I really want to figure out my format. So I took a few months off. I figured out what I really want to talk about. Games were kind of in a rough spot. Switch 2 coming out, but also the layoffs happen, the tariffs happen, everything. Last episode, I was angry near the end of it. It was just like, I need a little break. I really focused on streaming the last couple months. My main focus. But also this. So now, I'm here to tell you every week I will be here with a new episode. Most time will be released on a Monday morning. Today will be released on a Sunday. But if you're not subscribed, now is the time to follow, subscribe everywhere. Here, TikTok, Twitch, here if you're watching on YouTube, but on the podcast services that you're listening on, I'm right here listening, talking. You're listening while I'm talking. And we're going to get right into it. It's been, let's be honest, it's been a hell of a week for gaming news, and not in a good way, because one of the biggest companies in gaming has had a rough week. I'm talking Xbox. Every Xbox game that has been canceled this week, it has been rough out here. We're talking Perfect Dark, a game that they showcased a couple years ago. It might have even been last year at the 2024 Xbox Showcase. They did a full reveal, and it was the initiative, a team that they made to bring back a game like Perfect Dark that they haven't even published a game, and they were made in 2018 to bring back some of their IP that had been long dead. They were working with Crystal Dynamics, developer who helped do the recent Tomb Raider games. It's rough. It's rough to say the least, because the game looked so well it made, and a lot of the developers talked about the demo that they showed last year about how it even kind of worked if you went off the beaten path a bit, which some of those showcase demos, if you don't know, are broken if you go off the path a bit, which we've seen in some of the most infamous versions of a game just breaking during a showcase. And then we also have Rare's Everwild. This has been in development for over 6 years. Of course, Rare is known for so many games, but they made Sea of Thieves is basically the only thing that they've done since truly being acquired by Xbox, it feels like. And that's going to stay that way. It was a fantasy game that looked like it had something special behind it. And Phil Spencer, even earlier this year, talked about how it was going along well, but apparently rumors that it got like rebooted a couple years ago. It is just costing Xbox more money. And so that was obviously one that they probably looked at and were like, we just need to cut it. Project Blackbird, which was from ZeniMax Online Studios, the team behind Elder Scrolls Online. It was apparently, I was trying to look on it, noir themed and have a big focus on travel. Excuse me. The whole team working on it has seemingly been laid off. And it's a game where the word behind it was that people at Xbox went and were playing it, and they were having so much fun playing it that they had to be reminded that it was not a like preview event and that it was just a demo, but they loved it so much. So that one honestly is surprising to me. It's also hard to hear because recently Kinda Funny and Elder Scrolls Online did a podcast series where they talked about everything Elder Scrolls Online. And one of the heads of ZeniMax Online talked about how much he loved, and you could hear the passion as he talked about it, how much he loved working on Elder Scrolls Online and was excited for the future. And that I believe at one point he even said, I don't see myself like retiring anytime soon. And now he has left the studio. So that feels pretty hand in hand. Which is rough to see. Next up, we got Romero Games, FPS game. This one is, of course, John Romero, who was one of the original creators for Doom and Wolfenstein. Their whole team has been laid off and their FPS has been canceled. That's crazy to me that somebody as integral and iconic in the gaming industry can just have a game canceled like that. I can't understand why it would happen. It really sucks. Hopefully we can get John Romero to make something else here, and that the studio is, even though the team's been shut down, John can go and do something else, because it's that one just hurts to see. And talking about hurting to see, developer Turn 10 got 50% of their talent laid off. And it seems to be that the cancellation of the Forza Motorsport game, Forza Horizon, will still go on, because Forza Horizon has essentially become their more best-selling series that people like to play. Motorsport kind of has taken a backseat from them, with games like F1 becoming very much more popular. Gran Turismo kind of being in that spot. It is a bit of a blow, but I understand why they would stop making Motorsport, because Xbox is now not trying to compete with PlayStation. So possibly they're hoping to get like Gran Turismo on their the Xbox system now. That's the only reason why I can think of it. What else do we have? Halo Studios had a number of staff laid off. Raven Software, behind Call of Duty campaigns, including the new one coming out this year, has had people laid off. Same with High Moon, who has worked on Call of Duty. Sledgehammer Games, the co-developers for Modern Warfare games, laid off. Blizzard operations have ceased on their mobile game Warcraft Rumble, with 100 people reportedly affected, and King, the company behind Candy Crush, 10% of staff, aka 200 people, have been laid off. this this is tough. This is going to definitely have an effect on them. I think it's it's tough to see, but this is what happens when you buy something like Activision, and in my opinion, you just tried to completely rely on Call of Duty. When you bought Activision, there are so much IP that they have not taken advantage of. There is so many different games in the backlog that they could try to make. Like, let's say for example, the Marvel games that Activision made. Not all of them are great, but people will buy them. People will sign up for Game Pass to play them. Try to get those like rights, make a deal, something to try to get those games back out there to gamers. It's tough to see how big of a mess Xbox has had with this acquisition of Activision. And it is important to see that it's mainly looks like it's Call of Duty ones that have happened this past week when it comes to the Activision side. But to see somebody like Rare, the initiative, which was a Xbox created company, Forza's company, ZeniMax Online, these are all companies that didn't deserve it. ZeniMax has killed it for the past 10 years, making Elder Scrolls Online what it is. They deserve to make Project Blackbird. Rare, same with Sea of Thieves, has turned Sea of Thieves into what a mess it was at start. They deserve to finish Everwild. The Initiative, why can't we just finish Perfect Dark and put it out there? Let them finish it. If it doesn't do well, then it's understandable. Finish your games and put them out there if you want to make money. You've already spent so many years putting money into these games. Why, especially Perfect Dark, which you made such a big part of your showcase last year, why not just let them finish it? Okay, it doesn't do well because, let's face it, Game Pass is rough on some of the industry, which is what we're going to roll into the next story with. Arcane founder slams Game Pass following Microsoft cuts, saying, why is no one talking about the elephant in the room? This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Most of my stories are from Andy Robinson or from VGC today, not just Andy Robinson. But the founder and former president of Microsoft-owned Arcane Studios has criticized Game Pass and claimed that it's been increasingly damaging the industry. Raphael Colatino, who co-directed the original Dishonored game before his departure in 2019, made the comments on social media following this week's huge cuts across Microsoft, which saw it slash multiple game studios. Why is no one talking about the elephant in the room? Cough, cough, Game Pass. End quote. Colantonio wrote, sorry. I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's, quote, infinite money, but at some points reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up, end quote. The iWolf Studios founder went on to say that he's fed up with all the BS Xbox fed us around Game Pass allegedly not affecting premium game sales. Yeah, it's a long game that involves throwing a tsunami at the entire ecosystem of the industry. Only the gamers like it because the offer is too good to be true. But eventually, even gamers will hate it when they realize the effects on the games. Game Pass's model, which sees its new releases added to the subscription service on day one, has come under fresh scrutiny after Microsoft's latest round of layoffs, which have seen games canceled and many studios slashed. In a message sent to all staff, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, stated that the cuts were designed to, quote, end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness, end quote. AKA, I'm going to say this, bullshit. Not everyone's critical of Game Pass, however. Rebellion CEO Jason Kingsley recently claimed that launching the Game Pass has been a huge success for survival action game Atomfall. Microsoft has been a fantastic partner to work with. They've really leaned into helping us, he told GI.biz, GameIndustry.biz. They brought their skills and their scale to bear on our small project, and it's done really, really well for them. So they got a good deal, and we got a good deal out of it as well. Xbox claimed the number of hours people are playing on Xbox continues to grow fairly substantially, partly due to Game Pass. So my thought with this is somebody who doesn't understand the good yet that Game Pass does. Yes, there is obviously a lot of this stuff is affected by that. This person sounds like they're this. Listen, I love Dishonored. And I love the work that this person has done. I think they're wrong to put it fully on Game Pass. Is definitely on Xbox for going into business of paying too much money for something like Activision, and buying up too much, and also doing Game Pass. Because here's the deal. Game Pass is a good deal. And Game Pass helps games. 90% of the time, I see our game did better because of Game Pass. Look at something like Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart, I think, it said it passed 10 million sales. At Summer Game Fest, they just announced a new sequel, even though they haven't finished putting out DLC for the game yet. They also announced a multiplayer survival game, I believe. And Mundfish also announced another game, if I remember correctly. Them being on Game Pass is what sold Atomic Heart well, and is giving them the chance to make these other games. Same with something like Atomfall. I love Rebellion. That game would not have done well, I don't think. In my opinion, the trailer's really weird. I don't think people would have taken the chance on it, especially when you look at somebody like Rebellion. I like Rebellion, as I said. They're a solid studio, but the games they put out are just solid 7s. They aren't going to sell a $60 to $70 game that people like, original IP that people don't know. But putting it on Game Pass, people are going to see it. They're going to like it. Some people will then see that success and they'll see it be streamed by people. They'll see YouTube videos and then they'll go and they'll buy it on PlayStation. They might buy it on Steam instead of their Game Pass PC. It helps more, especially small indies. Game Pass helps. Yes, this sucks. This really, really sucks what happened this past week. But putting it on Game Pass, which is, yes, a too good to be true deal. But I don't know. It seems to work from what we understand when it comes to the game studios behind it. I mean, of course, you do have stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, where Tango Gameworks had issues after that game. I think that was because they said, hey, let's wait a year before we put Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation. That's what killed it. And Xbox is obviously a lot better than they were even just a couple years ago with stuff like that. I just think that Game Pass is a great deal. The issue is that sometimes you feel like it's something like Doom. Doom is a great Game Pass game. Doesn't need to be on Game Pass? No. Doom will sell on its own. But it does help more players play it. You look at, let's say, a 13-year-old kid who has an Xbox. He's mainly playing Fortnite with his friends. But what does he need? He needs Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And then you know what? that kid might end up playing one of those games on Xbox Game Pass that isn't just Fortnite. But he would have never, his parents would never bought that game for him. That's what Game Pass is for. It is for a lot of people that just can't afford to buy $70 games consistently. And even people who can. I mean, it's Game Pass is a good deal. I disagree with this statement from them, and I understand where they're coming from, but respectfully, I think Game Pass as a model, I think Game Pass will go up in price. I think PC for Game Pass will definitely go up in price. I think $15 is going to be what it will be next year, if not by the end of this year. Right now, I think it's 12. 15 seems reasonable. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will be over 20. That's just the end of the day. That's what's going to end up having to happen for it to be sustainable. As we move on to our next story, this is also from Andy Robinson. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is officially getting a second season. CD Projekt and Studio Trigger's popular anime Cyberpunk Edgerunners is officially getting a second season announced at the Anime Expo in Los Angeles on Friday. Studio Trigger confirmed Cyberpunk Edgerunners 2 is in production for Netflix and revealed the official logo for the project. I'm going to skip down here a little bit. David's story might be over, but there's plenty more to discover in Night City. And to again have the legendary animation studio Trigger along for the ride makes us a CD Projekt Red so excited to introduce a raw, real chronicle of redemption and revenge, something unlike what we've done before. This isn't surprising with how popular Edgerunners was. I mean, you go back and you look at Edgerunners. Edgerunners sold the game to a lot of people. People loved the game when Edgerunners came out was not doing great. I mean, it did okay. It was picking back up steam. It was getting fixed slowly. But then Edgerunners came out and people loved it. And they were like, I want to be in this world more. And I believe that sold Cyberpunk a good bit more. And then they put the Edgerunners like DLC. That was also around the time 2.0 was coming out with Phantom Liberty. This isn't surprising. It sounds like they're going more of an anthology style to it, which is a good idea to consistently keep telling stories in Night City in the world of Cyberpunk. I believe that is their best option. CD Projekt Red is obviously not like they're working on Cyberpunk 2077 sequel. And I think this might be what they were talking about when they announced more surprise content for it. This might be one of the things for 2077 that they were talking about. But yeah, I'm excited to see this. It's been 3 years since Edgerunners came out, and more of that, please. It's so solid. It's a solid show. As we move on to our next one, Mind's Eye boss reportedly claims internal and external saboteurs are to blame for the studio's woes. This is a struggle. Mind's Eye boss Leslie Benzies has allegedly claimed that the troubles facing Build Rocket Boy are the result of internal and external saboteurs, according to a new report. I don't want to read this whole thing because I don't need to. Mind's Eye came out and it sucked. It sucked not just from the gameplay side. The story wasn't good. The gameplay was atrocious. The false advertisement of this is going to be an open world Grand Theft Auto game, and then it's a 20-hour very linear story game that doesn't look great. It's not that insane visuals that they promised. It's not a great story. It's terrible. It's also Build Rocket Boy. They are losing around 300 staff reportedly based on this game bombing terribly. I remember they were, if you pre-ordered it, you got the deluxe edition. You didn't. They took the deluxe edition off and said, "Just pre-order the game, and we'll give you extra stuff. Please, we need to sell this." And they still couldn't, except for the people who were like, "I'll buy this joke." I will read some parts. The studio said it was heartbroken during an apology released earlier this month, saying it was fully committed to ensuring all our players have a great experience. The Metacritic currently stands at 38 for the PC version and just 28 for the PS5 version. This is not a fixable game. This is a game that has problems at its core. It's wrote by somebody who thinks that they can write something cool, and what they did was not write something cool. They think their edgy, cool, old Grand Theft Auto style of writing could work in this game, and it didn't. It's just so it feels very. I've watched a lot of this gameplay. I've watched a lot of the story. It's so generic in. It hurts. it's bad. It's bad. They talked to this came out before the game came out, that people were saying that I can't remember if it was Leslie or if it was somebody else. They were blaming like saboteurs for the bad previews, and IO Interactive, who bless them for absolutely taking a chance on this game, and I feel so bad that they did it. They came out and they were like, "That's not true." And the fact that they had to do a whole show, that they did the whole showcase earlier this month, basically based around this and a new Hitman mission, and then it came out the way it did. It's embarrassing for IO Interactive in a way that they don't deserve, because IO is a solid company and they're eating a lot of shit for partnering up with Builder Rocket Boy and publishing this game. And then to be continuously embarrassed by this dumbass Leslie Benzies coming out here and saying that it's because people are sabotaging our game. No, it's because your game sucked. I'm sorry. I don't like saying a game sucks because, games aren't for everybody. But this game just sucked. That's on you. That's on the company for deciding, hey, we're going to put this out. We want to try to put this out before Grand Theft Auto comes out. So we're going to rush it. We're going to come out in a half-baked state that's broken, and the story, the story wasn't even that good. So I don't know if this game was ever salvageable. Yeah, Mind's Eye. Yeah, fuck that. And we move on. Prolific Port Studio says any 60 FPS Xbox Series S game will easily port to Nintendo Switch 2. Virtuos compares Switch 2 power to the Xbox Series S. Virtuos is, of course, who is working on the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Metal Gear Delta. They also worked previously on, what was it? Call of Duty, Dark Souls, Battlefield, Uncharted, and Horizon. They talk about, according to graded, the overall GPU capabilities of both consoles are comparable thanks to Switch 2's use of DLSS upscaling. Switch 2's CPU is closer to PS4. He said he believes any game shipping at 60 FPS on the Series S should easily port to the Switch 2. I'm wondering if that means that something like Baldur's Gate 3, because they made Baldur's Gate 3 work on Series S, right? I know that was an issue for a while. Series S. It runs the gameplay is turn-based, so even if it runs around 30 FPS. Okay. So I think it could run on something like Baldur's Gate could run on there. Obviously a big game. You look at Cyberpunk and it runs well on Switch 2. The Switch 2 is finally there, and it's not exact. I don't want to say competing with PlayStation, Xbox, because it doesn't feel like any company is competing anymore, except for PlayStation. PlayStation is like, we're still fighting. We're not giving up. This is going to happen. We're gonna beat you, Xbox. We're gonna beat. Well, they don't care about beating Nintendo. But they're like, we're still in the fight. Watch your back. We're watching our back. You watch your back. PlayStation doesn't want to not be in a competition. It feels like and put it in wrestling terms, it feels like when WWE was clearly beating WCW, and WCW at the end was just kind of like trying to take deep shots at WWE, or even TNA in the 2000s. Or like, not even that. Maybe it's backwards. It's the other way. Like WWE would take shots at WCW, while WCW was so far behind. That's kind of what it feels like. Maybe that analogy's wrong. Maybe it's messed up. But yeah, that's what it is. Games can actually run on the Switch 2 now. That's what matters. As we move on to a story I think is very important. Stop Killing Games initiative has reached a crucial 1 million signatures as players continue to fight for game preservation. This is from Michael Kripe at IGN. The other ones were from VGC as well. I'm sorry. They will all be posted in the bottom of the video or in the podcast description if you want to go check them out. And I will also be posting this link to Stop Killing Games in there as well. So if you're in the EU, please consider going and signing this, because this initiative has reached its crucial 1 million signature milestone in its quest to preserve video games for decades to come. But the fight is not over yet. The self-described consumer movement soared past the goal yesterday, July 3rd, cementing its status as an impressive petition in gaming history, a movement that has plenty of gas left in that tank. It's all in the name of protecting the video games players love, and even the ones they don't, as the industry steadily marches towards a digital future. So yeah, it's good. We're fighting to save games. When you look at something like this week, Anthem has been announced that it's shutting down. Of course, Anthem was a bomb, and a lot of people probably didn't even realize Anthem was still available to play. It sucks. But Anthem is a game that has a story-ish mode. Okay, shut down the online servers. That's fine, but still make it playable. People who spent 70, or not 70, that was before 70, who spent $60 on it are now going to be out of a game. It's not even going to be playable anymore. It's and also Ubisoft, of course, did that with The Crew a while back. It would mean, if this could happen, it would mean everything would have to theoretically remain online. If the European Commission passes, maybe what would happen is like a direct form of like a game like Anthem. For one, I don't think Anthem should shut down. It's mainly a PvE game. That what's the is it like direct servers or like smaller servers? If a game like, let's say Peak can have as many people playing on servers, Peak is of course massive. Anthem should be able to keep smaller servers down. I don't know how. I'll be honest. I don't know how servers work in games. I wish I did, but this is important. we need to make sure that games are getting preserved and saved. Something like Concord, you should still be able to play in some form. I believe. That's my opinion. That's somebody's art that somebody worked on and now it's gone and nobody can see it. But yeah, that's killing games. And now we're going in to my review roundup for this week. I've been playing a lot of games while I've been gone. A lot. I'm about to give you a quick rundown of each one with my review. So first up, Peak. Everybody knows what Peak is at this point. It's all over TikTok. It's all over YouTube. It's everywhere. Over 2 million people passed. I was lucky enough to get a few keys from Aggro Crab and Landfall and give them to me and my friends. And we played on launch day, and we've been playing every day since launch day. Peak has been amazing. I love it. I love the systems. It does have issues, but it's a perfect game to play with your friends. And I also, to me, I love hiking. I might not look like it, but I love hiking. And I was never a Boy Scout because I'll be honest, I love hiking, but I hate bugs. The fear of getting a tick on my leg scares me. So this game scratches that itch of something that I've been wanting. The perfect mix of survival, mixed with the climbing, mixed with playing with your friends, and the joy that it brings, and the challenge of it just changing every day. Peak is fantastic. I think Peak is a great game. Peak, for me, gets an 8 out of 10. All right, next up, Rematch. Rematch, of course, the multiplayer football/soccer game from Slow Clap, just came out a couple weeks ago. I've played a lot of this over the past couple months, I'll be honest. I was able to get into their creator preview, both of their betas that they ran, and then I was lucky enough to get into early access with keys from them. I thank you again, Slow Clap. I think this game's awesome. I do really enjoy it. I do believe that there is more that they will build into this game. I believe it came out pretty solid. It came out relatively in a good state. It did have a lot of issues in that early access launch of lag and disconnects and a little broken, but when I've been playing recently, it seems to be a bit fixed in better state. And it's one of those games where I can just play it. I can just pick it up and play it, and that's perfect. And I've never been much of a soccer or football fan, and I have wanted a sports game that scratches that itch, and it does so well. The mechanics and everything, it's so well made. I really enjoy it. I think there's still room to improve, especially when it comes to maybe cosmetics, or there's something in there that I think that they can improve. I don't know what it is, but when I play it, I feel like I look at the menus and I feel like there's something more. Rematch for me gives a 7 out of 10, which is solid. It's a solid game. It's a good time, especially if you're playing with friends. Communication is key in the game. Got a couple indies here for you. Suit for Hire, a game that I saw on Blue Sky. And I'd never heard of it. And they have it on sale during the Steam summer sale right now for $8.99. Normally it's $16. It just came out. And it's essentially, it kind of reminds me of I Am Your Beast, but more of a John Wick. So if you don't know what I Am Your Beast is, it came out last year from Strange Scaffold, where you're kind of like quick arcadey, take down everybody in the area, first person game. This you can play in 2 ways, which I think is interesting. You're essentially like a John Wick style guy. You can either play in third person or you can play in top down, that's kind of weird to me. But you go through and you take everybody out assassin style. Like it's cool. I really enjoy it. I recommend it completely to anybody who is looking for something after watching like Mission Impossible or Ballerina and they're wanting a game that scratches that itch. Shoot for Hire does that. I give Shoot for Hire a 7 out of 10. Date Everything is Date Everything. What can I say about Date Everything that hasn't been said? Sorry. Date Everything is a fun story game, dating game, where you are stuck in this house with prototype glasses on that let you date every object in your house. It's really cool. I really like it. There is some frustrating characters in there with the time stuff, and it takes you a second. It's kind of like a puzzle game and how time works in the game. I really enjoy it. The voice acting's incredible. The humor is great. I think that it's much better than I expected it to be. I was afraid it would be like it would be going for too much, but I really enjoy it. I'm going to give Date Everything a 7.5 out of 10. It's a definite recommend. Then we have Lost in Random, The Eternal Die from Thunderful Studios. I was lucky enough to get a key for this back in May from them. They gave me the key so early, and I am so sorry that I have taken so long to make a video on it. I played through basically all of it then, and then when it actually came out, I was just like on other games and I didn't get to stream it, but I really love this game. If you love a Hades type game, this is essentially a Hades type with that Lost in Random Coraline / Tim Burton-esque feel. It's really well done, and also you have this little dice buddy that is on your back and you carry him around, and in the roguelike structure, when you get certain cards and stuff and you throw the dice, if it lands on a certain number, it'll do a certain effect. Stuff like that I really loved. I like the characters a lot. I really like the world of Lost in Random. I liked it when I played the original. And this is honestly a great expansion / spin-off / sequel, whatever you want to call it, of that world. I would love to see more of it. And I hope that they continue to do more with it. Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10. We're into the last two. These two are probably a couple of my favorites I've played recently. The Altars. The Altars is nuts. I went into this game expecting nothing. I will be honest, I looked at it at first and I was like, ugh, I don't know if a management type thing is what I want right now. And then I heard really good things about it. And the story is so well done in this game. And the management and the choices matter. It's great. And also, it isn't just like a management game. You're also in third person, running out, exploring, setting up mining equipment for your base, while also managing your base, while also managing your clones and their emotions and everything, and trying to keep them in check, make sure they aren't too angry at you, make sure you're pleasing everybody, which is impossible to do. You want to try to keep everybody going and alive and get off this planet that you've stranded on. I really enjoy it. I think The Altars is another 8.5 out of 10. today is a really good day of reviews for games that I've played, because the last one, excuse me, is one that everybody's played. Feels like everybody's played over the last couple months. Player Obscure Expedition 33. There isn't anything I could say about this that hasn't been said. The story is fantastic. The gameplay is fantastic. It has some best voice acting, and visually blows your mind. This game I expected to like, and then I loved it. This is one of my favorite games I've ever played. And it was a game that when I picked it up, I was like, I hope I make it to the end. And then when I picked it up, I was like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow because I want to beat this game. Of course I did. But it's like, I just want to keep playing this until I get to the end because I love this world. I love these characters. And then when I got to the end, I was like, can I please play more? And I just continue. I just want to keep playing. I love this so much. Expedition 33 is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. And that's going to be it for our review roundup for today. And so here we are. We're at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch it on YouTube, if you check me out on every other thing, if you see clips on TikTok, make sure to like those. Make sure to share the podcast if you can. I want to thank you for being here and listening to me talk about all things gaming here on the show, whether it's the terrible news of Xbox to the good news of Cyberpunk getting a second season, to my reviews for some games I've been playing. If you like the show, make sure to share it, follow it, like it, leave a comment if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. You can do that too. And if you can also leave a nice 5-star review for any of the podcast services around the internet that you use, that will let you do that. I greatly appreciate that. We'll be back next week and every week following that to give you my thoughts and reviews on the biggest news and games of the week. Until then, you can find me everywhere around the internet using the name LightTower on Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, and on Twitch. On Twitch, there is a little underscore at the bottom. You will see this beautiful face out on all of those as a profile picture. That will be how you know you are there. Love you all, and I will see you all next week right here in the tower. Goodbye.